So in this week, we are going to do lab 5 for this class. And in lab 5, I want to take this opportunity to teach you how to configure wireless adapter on Linux. It is not plug and play. Even though it is USB, right? You have to configure the driver on Linux, and it is a little tedious, but because when I taught ethical hacking in the past, some of my students successfully configure it and able to use the adapter to launch wireless attack. And then some of the students, they couldn't configure it only because maybe they're using an outdated Kali version or something happened. So if you can get through this part, you can use your adapter for a lot of things in Kali Linux, right? Kali Linux has a whole section on pen testing, on using wireless tools. So you would need to download Kali Linux. I had that. I think I have multiple versions, so it's in my downloads. And I simply right-click, show more options, 7-zip, and extract files once it's downloaded. Okay, so we want to extract it with 7-zip, and you're gonna get a plain folder, the extracted folder. That's where your virtual machine is gonna come from. So once I extract, I'm going to open up VirtualBox. And I'm going to add my Kali virtual machine. So in VirtualBox, and which step am I doing? I am at step 6 after I downloaded and extract. Okay, so in VirtualBox, you're going to click Add, go to your Downloads folder, find the extracted folder for Kali, open up its subfolder, and locate the blue file, which is the .vbox file. Once that happens, click Open, and it's going to load it to the player. Now, if you want to give it more RAM and processor to make it faster before you start it, that's ideal. I'm going to do that so that way it's not taking a long time. Okay, so go to Settings, and we are going to increase our RAM size to 8,000 megabyte and click Processor, and we would change it to 4. What if you didn't change it? It's fine. It's just going to be a little slower. So before you start, you can give it 8 gig of RAM, 8,000 megabyte, and quad core. Click OK. Then once you have the appropriate memory and the processor amount that you want, then we're going to click Start. So we have to do the update and upgrade. That's going to take about 10 plus minutes. That's probably going to consume a lot of your time. Make sure that we run the command accordingly. For number 14, there is no space before the -r. You name no space -r, okay? That was a fix that I had for the Monday class. And then we are going, so make sure, and you can copy and paste the command into Kali Linux, as some of you already know that, or you can type it if you want to practice. Okay, so my system has booted after I extracted and loaded in virtual machine. So now I'm at the end of part A, which is where I would log in. Okay, and the password and the username is listed there. Is it really? I just got it. I just pull it down. Are you using Edge? Oh, really? Yeah, I saw in the Monday class that some of them were having issue with the, like, the last part of Kali didn't come down, so it was hanging for a long time. You can try Chrome. I used Chrome and it took me like minutes. Mm-hmm.
I'll try to download it. Website. It's coming up with an error. It won't extract.
Is it because it's coming down as Edge?
Well, on Edge, you won't even download. It'll say it's a safe vendor or something.
Yeah.
And then on Chrome, try to kind of extract it too.
You can go back to go to your downloads folder. It's there. Right.
So that
Right.
Sure.
Sure. No. You have to use 7-zip. Right click, show more option. 7-zip. Check files. Yeah, cannot use regular extraction. Okay, if once we download, make sure we use 7-zip. The way that you do this is you right click the file, show more options, and then so you right click, show more options, and then choose 7-zip and then extract files. Because they zip it with 7-zip, you have to extract it with 7-zip. Okay, so once you extract it, you have your VM. So Cynthia has question. You got it? Okay. All right, good. Yeah, sometimes it hangs at the last few seconds. I don't know why it does that sometimes, but maybe just for security reasons. Okay, so once we have it extracted, you can add it to your VirtualBox, right? Change your settings. So give it a little bit more juice with RAM and processor, and then click start. Then once it boots, just log in using the username and password, Kali and Kali. Okay. Now I have my system, my desktop open, and the system has booted. We're going to open up the command line in Kali, which is the black square at the top. And you are going to do a sudo app update. You must do update and upgrade because it needs to have the latest kernel. Put in the password for it as we see in step 12. This part is going to take about 10 minutes, so you can take a short break. So after it updates and upgrades, you are going to then install DKMS. This is going to allow us to run the app once it's built. Okay, so when you get prompted with this question right here, do you want to continue? Just type Y, yes, and press enter. So that way it would finish downloading and installing necessary packages for your updates. So we're going to install DKMS. Make sure that we get the entire command. My fault for keeping it in one line, right? So when you do the DKMS, make sure that you get the last part, get yes. So that way you don't have to prompt, you don't have to answer the prompt, okay? Then you are going to install the libraries so that way it can build, and make sure we run the entire command and there's no space before the -R. Then we're going to download, we're going to clone the driver from Aircraft. And so it's going to pull down this driver. And this driver is used for this adapter, right? Most wireless adapter uses Realtek chip. So you would see that it would work. Now, if you go to the manufacturer website and download the driver, it's deprecated. That means that it doesn't support the latest Debian version. So I have to obtain it from some developer for Aircraft. So you're gonna download it using git clone, and then you are going to install the Linux headers. It has to match in order. I think it uses like the 16.2 header. So if you have mismatching header, it's gonna throw an error. Okay. After that, you are gonna make the KMS install, then you're gonna build the driver. So the process in Linux is that you have to update your Linux systems to the latest version, so you have the appropriate kernel and its header for the Linux version that you're using. Then you are going to download the driver code. Then you're gonna build it, right? So for your release, and then you're gonna plug your adapter in and run it. In general, it's gonna be like that. Now, once we have the driver installed, you're gonna shut it down, and then you're gonna plug in the adapter, okay? Because if you plug the adapter at the beginning, it's gonna try to use it, and then you're gonna have problem installing updates. So don't plug it in at the beginning. When you shut it down, you are gonna enable your USB, and you are going to allow that USB adapter to work with your VirtualBox. And that's how you can adapt the USB wireless adapter to your virtual machine. Then we log on again, and then we want to be able to see the devices and see if it is working, okay? So I have my wireless router up. So you are going to add to that network. Keep in mind that that network doesn't have internet. I just put it there so that way you know how to add to wireless Wi-Fi using command line in Linux. And then at some point you are going to run airmon. And you know, if you are to use this with airmon or aircrack ng, you can use it for like looking at vulnerability and encryption and be able to assess your wireless access point. Okay. It tells me. So if you do see Postgres SQL, just press tab to select OK and then press enter, right? If you want to upgrade it, I'm just going to upgrade it. You can or you don't have to, but I'm just going to do an upgrade. So I think the longest part is the upgrade and the updates, right? So we always want to start with that. Doesn't matter if you're using Ubuntu or if you're using Kali or if you're using Parrot. You should before you install driver, you should always run an upgrade and update. So that way you have the latest kernel information and also the header for your OS. So that's the challenge for some students that they already have their virtual machine added from last year and they were trying to do the slab and load the driver. They were running into issues. So if you start with the fresh VM or the newer OS, it's ideal. And I tested this with the current version you're using, so. Yeah, I did. I did okay and I did yes. So it's going to be a little bit more if you do a Postgres upgrade. But yeah, it's gonna it's gonna add database information. Because I think some of the Linux tools in here uses Postgres SQL. Yeah.
During the I guess it's stopping at a whole bunch of errors now.
Where are you getting an error?
If I tried, yeah, if I try to download it from Chrome, the file itself won't open, but if I try to download it from the Edge, it gives me to download it.
It failed to download.
No,
So, people, I'll have to run the update upgrades again. I don't know why it needs to. On the wire that work, right? Not the wireless.
I know something.
It has, it shows it uses the regular IP address, so it should be.
Yeah, so it crashed at 80,000, you have 5%.
Yeah, sometimes it's just inconsistent with the.
Yeah.
Through the view. How are we doing? Yeah, you have to rerun it sometimes. I don't know why it dropped maybe it just. It could be their server, getting too busy. Yeah, because you're trying to extract it with regular. No, don't do that. Right click. Show more option. 7-zip. Extract file. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because they zip it with 7-zip. You have to extract it with 7-zip. You can't extract it with Windows 12. What's going on? Did you get your VM downloaded?
Just read this off and say,
Are you re-downloading them?
Yeah. I tried to get out the compressed file, and it's like there's a fatal error.
Yeah, let me see your downloads. You guys will keep extracting the files using Windows extraction tool. Yeah, unconfirmed, those are just. I see you download them right there. No, you can't open it from the random. We learned this in all the other classes. Right click. Go to show more options. 7-zip. Extract files. You have to follow instruction. Like, okay. Right. Part A walks you through that. We have to look at part A. Okay. It tells you 7-zip. So you're good now. Just use that one that you just recovered. And then once it's extracted, go to open up VirtualBox, add it. But add it from the extracted folder, not the other folder. Should have let you add it. Oh, okay. Don't do that. Close that. Click add. Go to downloads and then open that up. Yeah, there you go. And change your settings to 8,000 megabyte of RAM and 4 processor. We're good. Okay. So as we proceed, right, make sure that you look at the entire command. Sometimes it gets dropped to the second line. You can copy and paste the command, or you can type it, but making sure that you have the complete command. Because if you miss something on the command, likely that you're not going to be like this one. A lot of people miss number 14. So just make sure. And then there's an underscore after DKMS on that one. So after you load your driver, then you plug your adapter in, add your USB on VirtualBox. Okay, it's gonna, so read the instruction and follow the step to do that. And then you're gonna boot your virtual machine again, then log in, and then you're gonna check to see if your USB is working. Okay, and then you're gonna look at your wireless configuration. So what I did was I wrote multiple commands for you to find your adapter in the case that if you need to locate it. Now, when you get to this 27, and if you enable it and you turn it the state to up, but it still shows down, it's fine, because Linux, you have to reboot it for it to change the status. But if you do the next step, and then if you see wireless networks, then that means your adapter is working. Okay, so if you get the status showing down, even though that you command it to, you use a command to activate it and make it up, it might still show down, and that's fine. Okay, if you want, you can reboot it, and it takes like a little bit for it to update. If not, if you run the next command and if you see all the wireless networks, then you're good. If you already add that network, it will not display that network. So if you already add like RCCD, it won't display that same network again. Okay. All right. Are we okay so far? Any question? You need any help? Okay, so log in and run your updates. Go to the end of part A, you're right here. Just waiting. I'm waiting also. Okay, always remember that, Callie, you have to use 7-zip because they use 7-zip to compress the file. So we want to make sure we use the same kind. Otherwise, it will give you that fatal error. Your virtual machine cannot be accessed. And then if you're using external hard drives, just make sure you put it on the local machine, because in a lot of cases it cannot synchronize the speed with read and write, and sometimes it crashes. So but yeah, we should be okay. I'm at 75% now, so it should pick up pretty quick.
We have to do them one at a time, right? The update and upgrade.
No, just do it together as one command. It's one command. Okay? For each step, I put one command. I know it drops on the second line because of the font, but so do a complete command for each one. Now, if you don't do Postgres, it's probably quicker, but is it necessary for this particular driver thing? No, not quite. I mean, Postgres is used in other apps and things, but I just, since I'm already upgrading, probably the difference is probably like a minute or so. So Okay. I got an error code as well for sub-process. Okay, let's see if it's gonna be a problem later. So now I'm gonna do the KMS installation. So make sure we use the complete command for each step. Then after that, I'm gonna install all the packages for the dependencies. These are libraries and code that you need to build the driver. So you can copy and paste the command in if you don't want to type it. Okay, then I'm going to clone the driver file. It should be a code package from the GitHub. So it's going to download the entire folder that contains the code. Then I'm going to make sure I install the generic header for Linux. Otherwise, it won't be able to build it with the kernel. And then press yes if it's prompt. Okay. And if you want to make sure, you can do ls to see if your directory or your driver package is downloaded. I see the folder there right here. Now I'm going to move inside that folder. So cd rtl 8812au. If the name is recognized, the pop-up would bold it. So, and I'm in the path, so I'm inside that directory or folder. And then I'm going to do a make install for DKMS. Now you don't have to use DKMS. There's other options that you can use for build. Okay, so everything is okay. There might be like a little makefile error here. Is this kernel? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me try this again. That's probably because of my update issue. Yeah. Yeah, so it says it's already at the newest version 6.16. Let me see. Okay. So if you're running into that problem, reinstall your headers, just repeat 16 and then 18. Oh, it says DKMS tree already contains, so it should build it already. Let me see. Now we're gonna shut it down. And then plug in your USB 802.11 AC adapter. Okay, so before we turn it back on again, plug in your adapter, then we're gonna add the USB. And I add 2.0. Oops. Settings. And then go to USB. Select 2.0, click add. And we're gonna select Realtek AC. We're gonna click OK. Once we add it, we're just gonna go ahead and start it again and log in. And you can always check your USB devices by clicking devices USB and make sure Realtek, it has a check mark next to it. That means that it's enabled. Okay. So once we modify the USB configuration, adding it to VirtualBox, selecting the right adapter, boot your system, and then log back in. Then you're two-third way there. Then log back in. Then we're going to open up our terminal and see if it sees it. So at this point, we want to make sure that it sees the USB adapter. So if you do list USB or ls USB, it should list your adapter. Okay. If you don't see TP-Link when you do ls USB, which is step 24, then maybe there was a misconfiguration for the driver, or maybe it's not enabled in VirtualBox, so you have to go back and check your step. You can call me over and I'll help you. Then after that, we're going to do a IW config. And if your driver worked, you should see a WLAN 0. Take a screenshot at this point. And what is the standard? Whatever it's listed as IEEE, that's going to be your standard. It should be 802.11. Okay. Then we're going to do an IPA. So after you configure your wireless adapter, there's several ways that you can find it. One, you can, if it's a USB device, you can list the USB device to see if it's there. Two, you can do IW config for wireless configuration for the adapter. Interface wireless configuration is what it's for. And it should list your wireless LAN 0 adapter. If it doesn't, then that means that your driver did not work, okay? Or your adapter is not connected or configured with VirtualBox. So if it's not listing WLAN 0, then you need to go back and redo some steps to troubleshoot. Then I can do an IPA. IPA now should tell me my WLAN 0 adapter, and it might show down, right? It's okay because it's not linking yet. We have to enable it. So the way the adapter works is even if you connect and configure driver, even though it is a plug and play USB device, plug and play is for Windows, okay? Linux, when you plug it in, you have to make sure that you configure it and you enable it. Even if you install driver for it, you still have to enable it. Okay, so in the next step, we are going to set our link to up. Put in our password. Keep in mind that even though, like I said before, step 27, even if you set it to up and if you don't reboot, it might still show down. Okay, so now I'm going to do IPA again. So up arrow key twice and it still show down, you see? Because I didn't reboot. It doesn't refresh it as it should because the only time that your system refresh, it might take minutes or so later, or you can reboot. How's that fair? Yeah, parentheses, just no space between your name and that chart. And it has to be the entire command. Both lines. Okay. So if you see down still, right, that's okay. I'm gonna reboot and see. Okay. Even if you reboot, you gotta give it a little bit of time. So I would need to maybe rerun this and then have it. Because last time when I did it with the Monday class, I rebooted and it worked. So if you did step 27 and it shows down and you don't reboot, it's fine. You can proceed, right? If it's truly down, then you can connect. You cannot see any wireless network. So the next step will not show you any wireless network. If it is up, but it shows down, you should see Wi-Fi network. See? Now I'm going to try to see if I'm going to rerun this link up. Right? So even multiple times you do that, it might not kick in for a while. So I'm just going to do the next step, which is 29. And there are various ways you can find your wireless network, but your NM stands for network management and CLI is command line interface. So when you use this command, basically it's like clicking on advanced network option on the graphical user interface. So basically you're using network management console options, okay? And so if my Wi-Fi doesn't work, I wouldn't have this wireless network list, okay? I know it's misleading when it shows down where it should be up. Now you will have lots and lots of, so in an environment where they have a lot of wireless devices, you're gonna see a bunch of them, okay? And then take a screenshot of this when you get to step 29, and then you can press enter key to keep on going. If you are tired of reading the entire network, you can press Control C to get your pop-up back, okay? So my goal is to be added to the CIS-40A network right here, okay? So how do I do that in command line? I would use the nmcli right here. Okay, and then you just need to connect to the SSID and make sure your SSID is in quotation mark. Okay, so when I run this command for 32, it might not pop up so you might have to minimize your terminal to see your password prompt and then put in your password as shown in step 34 or passphrase. If you're already connected to that network, it won't show that network, so you shouldn't be connecting to that network, right? All right, now I'm gonna go back to my terminal here, right? So when I issue this command, I put in my, so it says WLAN 0 successfully activated with this address. So that means that you're added to that network, right? And you can rerun the command to see the list of networks again. 40A should drop off the list if you check the wireless network, or I can use the next command, which is the general status command for nmcli. Let me shrink this back down so you can see together. And it tells me it is connected is the state. I have full connectivity. My Wi-Fi is enabled, right? And so on. So you should get that status. So take a screenshot of it when it shows connected. Then now I'm going to also display active connection. So it's just another way to look at your wireless network using the command nmcli. Right? So in this one, it gives you more detail, right? I have, this one is just the wireless network. This one is all connections. So I have wired and wireless network, right? I'm connected to CIS-40A access point, and then I'm also connected to the Ethernet connection. So any active connection is going to be shown. So you should have three: a loopback, an Ethernet, and a Wi-Fi. And then another way that we can look at just our wireless adapter is to do a show command with an nmcli command. Okay. And in this one, basically it's like looking at the property, like right click that adapter, look at property. So it shows you the property of that adapter. This is my wireless adapter. This is its MAC address. This is its IP address and IPv6 address and so on, right? So it gives you more detailed information by doing a show WLAN 0 with an nmcli device command. This allows you to look at the property of that adapter, okay? And then when you see this, you keep pressing Enter or Control C here to get out of that property sheet information. So it asks you for 37, what is my WLAN 0 connection profile? So if you look at general connection, it tells me that it is connected to CIS-40A wireless network. Okay. And then another way that we can also check our wireless adapter is do IW, which is kind of IW config, and then we're going to do a dev command. It's shortened for IW config, WLAN 0, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I put link. I forgot link. So you got to do the complete, make sure we type in, we add in the link with that. So it shows the link for my wireless adapter. This one gives you briefer information, but it shows like, you know, the throughput, how many packets, the bit rate, and my network SSID. So it asks you what is the connection state. It tells you that it is connected to, right? You can copy paste that to the adapter is connected, and this is the adapter address. So you can say it's connected. And you can add that if you want. Then since I have the adapter on, I can run airmon, which allows you to use it as a monitoring type of app. And it's always going to be listening, right? So at this point, you're just going to wait for things to happen. So it's in the monitoring mode. Take a screenshot of it to show that it is in the monitoring mode. And then if you want to stop it, because, you know, asset monitor, it's going to consume power. If you don't need it anymore, you need to stop the service. So we're going to stop the service by using that command. And it's going to take a second for it to stop or so. It tells you that you should try to use the It's okay if you get this message, it's fine. Okay. And then if you want to view your network, you can do nmtui. Okay. And this allows you to access the text-based interface. So you're going to press enter to do an edit. And you can move down to CIS-40A. And then you are going to press enter or go to the right to go to edit. And it shows you the information for that network, right? Press escape if you want to go back. So it tells you that you're going to use the arrow key and the left keyboard to go to your CIS-40A. Okay. Then you are going to go down to IPv4 configuration and go right to go to show. And basically it tells us that we are obtaining IPv4 address from the router automatically, right? Just like at home. Your router gives out the IP address because it acts as a DHCP. So at this point, we would take a screenshot of this right here. And then hide the options. You can go and you can also press escape to go back, right? But it tells you that once you click the hide options, you can go to move your arrow key all the way down to cancel and then select cancel and press enter, right? And then you can move back by hit tab. And then go down to quit. So that's just another way that you can also look at configuration. You can also go in and add your wireless network is through the nmtui, which allows you to also control your wired adapter, your network adapter, your network interface card. So there are many ways that you can go about to look at the configuration, the properties, or change the configuration in your Linux system. And when you're done, you can shut it down. Now, make sure we answer the last two questions for 50. Upon completing this lab, what did you learn about wireless networking? We learned how to configure your wireless adapter on Linux, right? Especially Kali Linux, which is the Debian release. You have to update upgrades. We have to install appropriate packages and the driver packages. And in order to deploy your wireless adapter on the machine. And then we learn how to use command to check the status and also add to the wireless network using nmcli, which is network management control. Command line interface. And then we also learn how to use nmtui, which is your network management text user interface. So with this, you should be able to know how to configure your wireless adapter, especially the USB one, on your Linux machine. Okay. And then answer the second question, how can this be applied to your future career? If you aspire to be a technician, you might use this to learn how to troubleshoot or do an install. You might manage Linux server. If you are sysadmin, you might be working with Linux system. If you're in cybersecurity, you can use wireless adapter to run vulnerability assessment on your wireless network, like for reconnaissance, all kinds of things, right? Okay, any question or any problem?